Welcome. And today we have Bruce Cox, who is our finance for the board of directors. Bruce, wave out. Yes, okay. We have Bruce Evans, our director of sewer operations. He's the main star today. He'll be up later. And Mary Jo Page has joined us again, our director of marketing. And Jared Kirby over here, Mr. Hat. He's always wears a different hat for us. Thank you, Jared, for what you're doing for us. Very appreciative. Thank you. So, as usual, when we start our program, we always go through our vision statements and mission statements. If you signed up and now you received the magnifies through your emails, you'll see those at the top of them now. So those are very important to us as a board and to the management team here. And then we're going to talk about our core values there, specifically today with our sewer system, provide a safe and secure environment. And then number 4, provide a variety of high-quality amenities and services, which the sewer does. So those are our core values. Good deal. Those won't change. I just go through them every time we have this, though, so we'll know where we are on that. At this time, I wanted to bring up one survey that you guys filled out that took the Welcome Home survey. And you can see here what motivated you to move to Fairfield Glade. Please rank the choices 1 through 5. And you can see the activities and amenities is number 1. Natural environments, number 2. Real estate values is 3. Non-urban area but near large city is number 4. And the bottom one kind of surprised us was reasonable HOA dues. What about that, Bruce Cox? Yeah. Okay. So again, I just want to kind of share these as we go through this. Does anybody disagree with this since you've been here? I would hope not. Thank you. Now we're going to turn it over to our speakers, and we're going to talk a little bit about our sewer services here. But to have a first-class sewer system, the first thing you have to do is to pay for it. So Bruce is going to walk us through that presentation. Oh, here you go, Bruce.
Got it. Give me that clicker, John. Okay, we're going to talk about the sewer system. Ask any questions you want while I'm up here talking about money, and I'll hang around later and we can talk about it as well. We've got a couple different income sources for sewer. The first thing I want to tell you up at the top is we have 2 financial organizations here. We have the POA, the Property Owners Association, and we have the sewer department. Those dollars cannot mix. I can't take money out of sewer to pay for something in the Property Owners Association, and I cannot take money out of the Property Owners Association. So sewer is an independent business unto itself, and you're going to talk to the CEO here in a moment. Our income sources from operations is the sewer service fee and the tap fee. The sewer service fee is what you pay every month. How much do you pay every month for sewer? Anybody know? Sorry? $30. $30 a month. How much did you pay for sewer where you lived before? Anybody remember? Bet it wasn't $30. Yeah, okay. Well, where I came from, I paid upwards of, I came here from Dallas, Texas, and I paid around $100 a month for sewer service. So, but and the other one is tap fees, and tap fees are when you build a home here and you actually tap onto the sewer system, there's a fee for doing that. Those 2 fees are what Bruce uses to manage and run his everyday operations of sewer. The other 2 fees we charge are capital fees. One's an availability fee, and that fee was paid when we installed sewer along the road in which you live. If you built a home on an undeveloped area, you would have paid it, but most of you, how many of you built a home here versus buying? So y'all built home or bought homes. Well, somewhere along the line, when they built that home, they paid an availability fee to have sewer available in front of your house. And then they paid a capacity fee. The availability fee we use strictly, it's kept in a reserve account, and it's used strictly to run sewer lines to new areas for expanding our neighborhoods. The capacity fee that is paid whenever we run the sewer line, Bruce uses to increase the capacity down at the sewer treatment facility itself. It is also kept in a reserve. It cannot be used for anything else. Yes.
I currently live where we do not have sewers.
Yes.
Septic is ready plans to bring us onto sewer.
Where do you live?
I live on Lancaster, off of
I don't think we've talked yet about building.
Not on the radar quite. Well, I'll explain when I get there.
Yeah, we are extending sewer in a couple of areas, and it's because we think those areas are going to grow and expand, but it's possible somewhere down the road that we'll do it there. So again, just to be clear, the operations fee is separate by itself. Capital, those two accounts are kept separate by themselves. I cannot take money from one and put it in the other. The whole object of that is to make sure we have money to extend sewer, make sure we have money to extend the capacity of the sewer treatment facility itself, and to make sure we have operations money. The operating revenue last year for sewer was $2,625,000. The capital revenue was $210,000. This year, we've budgeted for about the same amount of money, $2.6 million for operating and $294,000 for capital. And so that's the kind of business it is. It's a fair-sized business, and there are people here, I was telling John before we started, there are people here that I've known that lived here for 10, 15 years, don't realize we actually run the sewer treatment facility. They just pay their bill and think somebody else does it, so.
Until it doesn't work.
Until it doesn't work. That's right. Yes.
So, does every property pay the sewer fee whether or not you use it?
No. The folks who are on private sewer systems, septic systems, do not pay the fee.
What about empty lots?
Empty lots do not pay the fee. Unless you're connected to the sewer system, you don't pay the fee.
That's the reason the two financials have to stay apart. POA, because everybody pays a POA fee, not everybody pays a sewer fee. So sewer and POA has to stay separate for that reason.
Yeah, there are some homes here that pay $78 a month. That's the $70 of POA fees and $8 for trash. And then other people pay $108, which adds on the sewer fee. That's how that works. I give treasury reports every month at the board meeting. I invite you to come and attend and listen to all the details I give. But if you ever have questions about POA or sewer financials, there's my phone number, there's my email. I will respond to whatever questions you have. Anything else? All right, I'll turn it over to the CEO.
Okay.
You want to hold this or you want to do that?
I'll be right here. Good afternoon.
Want to use the clicker or?
If I can, John. I don't have my glasses.
Well, if I can use it, anybody can.
Yeah.
Just use, trust me.
I'll figure it out.
Just use the big arrow there.
Yeah. Once again, I'm Bruce Evans, Director of Fairfield Sewer System. Fairfield has their own private sewer collection system and wastewater treatment plant. We have a rather large department, 15 and a half folks, 15 full-time folks, and one half guy in the lab. So 16 pump stations, a rather large budget, over $2 million. And we try to stay as self-sufficient as possible. I manage your money I try to manage your money very well. The way that I look at the sewer fee that you pay every month is I've simply been tasked with managing that money. It's not my money, it's your money. It's the sewer user's money. So you folks own the entire sewer collection system and treatment plant, and we're just been hired to manage it as efficiently and effectively as possible. And so we try to do everything in-house. We try to stay as self-sufficient as possible to hold costs down, and we watch budgets very closely. The sewer rates since 2011 have gone down twice, not up. So since I've been here in 2011, coming from Massachusetts, the rates have actually gone down twice, and we're still very, very positive with the financial situation, financial level in the bank. So we've done two major projects over $1 million. without having to take any long-term debt. So we paid cash for those, and we still have a pretty healthy bank account. So we manage the budget very well. We do a number of different things down the treatment plant. So the sewer department itself has sub-departments within it. So most of the homes being built now, of which there's about 100 a year, have their own grinder pump. So the sewer department installs that grinder pump, runs the discharge line, ties it into the sewer main, and then when the home is nearly complete, we have licensed electricians that pull an electrical permit. We hang the box on the wall, wire the box, start the pump, all of that stuff. So we take care of all the grinder pump installations. We also take care of the grinder pump 7 days a week, between the hours of 7 and 3, and I'll concentrate on grinder pumps here in a little bit, but we've got pump station operators, we've got sewer extension installers, so we have a whole bunch of equipment, mini excavators, backhoes, whatever. We do small sewer extensions, get them designed with a local engineer and then permitted through the state, and then install the sewer pipe ourselves. We repair all the breaks in the sewer lines. We maintain the pump stations. Of course, we operate the treatment plant, of which there's 350 acres inside the fence down at the end of Westchester Road. So Westchester onto Chestnut Hill, and we have 350 acres. The treatment plant is rather unique in that we do not have a direct discharge to a surface water. So where 99.9% of all wastewater plants discharge to a surface water, the ocean, some sort of lake, whatever, we have zero discharge. So we spray irrigate the land and drip irrigate. And we fall under the state of Tennessee rather than the EPA. We have no oversight from EPA because we have zero discharge into the waters of the U.S. But there's certain regulations that TDEC puts on us. The ground, we use the ground for final treatment of the water. So we treat to a certain standard per our permit, spray the water onto the ground, and then the soils actually treat it to tertiary levels, or polish it basically before it hits rock, moves laterally, ends up in a ditch and leaves the property. So it's kind of unique. It's a challenge in the wintertime. It's a challenge with all the rain that we get at times, but so far so good. We've managed to do well. Just here recently in the last 3 months, we used to have overflows at the pump stations. The collection system sees a lot of rainwater get into it during heavy rain events. There's still some pumps under the homes, under a lot of the homes. The condensate drains, we've got a crew going out there to investigate and try to mitigate those types of water sources that don't need to be collected in the wastewater system. So my background is in business. I graduated back in '84, Fitchburg State University now, Fitchburg State College at the time up in Massachusetts. Worked in as a manager of a hotel in basically a hotel and retirement complex. But anyway, I didn't like wearing a suit and tie every day, so I took an interim job at a wastewater plant, and I've been doing it ever since. So 35 years later, here I am, running a wastewater plant and collection system. So it pays the bills. It always has paid the bills. So moved down from Massachusetts in April 2011, just got tired. We work outside an awful lot. Got too old to be 20 below zero, working 5 days in a row. So shoveling snow and plowing snow every day. So yeah, cost of living and the weather. So moved down here in April 2011. I've been with Fairfield ever since. Just had my 10-year anniversary. I've got both of the highest wastewater licenses that Tennessee offers. Both my grade 4 wastewater operator's license and my grade 2 collection license. So those are the highest licenses that Tennessee offers. So when we're fully staffed, I have 15 and a half guys, so 4 grinder pump service techs that work 7 days a week. They'll answer that little alarm light between the hours of 7 and 3 o'clock. If you call after those hours or outside of those hours, you leave a message. The greeting usually is supposed to explain to conserve water, don't do laundry, take long showers, that type of stuff. The grinder pumps have a 35-gallon sump, and we'll respond to that alarm first thing the next morning. Financially, it would break the department if we had people on call 24/7. The alarms come in at all different hours of the night. For safety reason, it's a 2-man operation. operation, and so to have 2 guys come in on overtime for every alarm call would just be financially devastating. And so we explain in the greeting to conserve water. We'll respond to the alarm first thing in the morning in the order with which the calls came in, and the guys roll first thing in the morning, 7 o'clock. We usually don't have too many problems with that. The guys are pretty prompt about coming out and taking care of your grinder pump. So we go out, we troubleshoot the grinder pump, we put in a rebuild grinder pump, we bring it back to the shop, we steam clean it, we rebuild it, it goes back in inventory for the next call. 7 days a week, 365 days a year, holidays, everything. There's a few things that you do not want to flush into the grinder pumps, and a lot of you have never dealt with a grinder pump. I had never dealt with a grinder pump until coming down here. So we've got about 5,200 of them that we maintain. 5,200 of them. The grinder pumps are owned by the homeowners, but we maintain them. Part of that $30 a month sewer fee covers our operation and maintenance of the grinder pump. So the baby wipes, the disposable wipes, they're not really disposable at all. Grinder pumps hate them. You will have problems. You will be calling us on a regular basis if you flush a lot of those flushable wipes. Oil and grease, bacon grease, any kind of oil and grease, fats, oils, and greases. Grinder pumps don't like that either. My recommendation would be to save a tin can, put bacon grease in a tin can, put it in the freezer, let it solidify and throw it away, or use it for flavoring in something. But just don't dump it down the drain, because the grinder pumps, we have people flushing aquarium stones, we have people flushing paper clips, we have people flushing marbles. Mechanical pieces of equipment do not like to see those types of items. So there is a policy on the website that explains the do's and don'ts for the grinder pump. If that light goes on and it's after hours, please try and conserve water, and we'll be out, like I said, first thing in the morning. If that light goes out, if the light's on during the day, you call us, leave a message, and we'll be out within a half an hour. What else can I tell you about the grinder pumps?
I wish you guys came out and flagged my line because I was doing some digging.
Sure.
I was shocked to learn that it's an 1.5 inch pipe.
It's actually 1.25 inches. Yeah, the discharge pipe. The discharge pipe is a very small diameter pipe. Most of the collection system is very small diameter, unlike conventional gravity systems up north where it's 8 inches or 10 inches or 12 inches. The pipe leaving that grinder pump is 1.25 inches. We're now installing HDPE pipe that's much more durable than PVC pipe. The rock shifts up here, and we had many problems for years with the PVC pipe that they had been installing. All of the lines in the road are 2-inch, 3-inch, and 4-inch. So those are the main sizes of the lines that we're pumping to. From there, it goes to one of 16 pump stations that have been built for a very long time, and we've upgraded those pump stations with diesel pumps now. So the main pump stations that would typically overflow during a wet weather event now have a standalone diesel pump. TDEC, the regulatory agency, has a policy that says unless a pump station pumps on average over 1 million gallons a day, it does not require a generator. While VEC power is inconsistent, to say the least. We have power outages all the time. And when you don't have a generator at a pump station that does 500,000 gallons a day of sewage, and you lose power for 2 hours, it's going to overflow. And so we put in diesel pumps that both take care of power outages, mechanical failures, wet weather events, maintenance. So we can now do any one of those things can happen, and we prevent overflows. So once again, 3 months without an overflow is pretty good for us. So
the grinder pumps work automatically?
the grinder pumps work automatically, but they run on electricity. So if you lose electricity for an extended period of time, Crab Orchard Water supplies your potable water, your drinking water, and they've got generators at the plant. So the generators will continue to keep the water plant pumping water to your house. But the grinder pump is not going to run because it does not have the power. So during power outages, please conserve water, and when the power comes back on, everything should return to normal.
Chris, because like you from up north, like
Sure.
grinding pumps, what is?
Yeah, it's a pretty complex pump. It weighs about 80 pounds, and it sits down in that bottom sump about 4 feet down in the ground, and then there's an empty cavity. There's a cover that you can see from the yard, and underneath that cover is the electric wire and the plumbing coming from the pump and out the wall going to the road. And then below that is the top of the pump, and that extends another 2.5 feet down. And they work very well, and if they're not abused or wipes and grease and all that stuff, if you're cognizant about what you flush, those grinder pumps will last up to 20 years. We've got pumps that are original pumps from 1980 being pulled out. They do work very well, and they last a long time, but it's just what type of usage in the house dictates how long they last, so.
And so that little light thing.
The little red light above your kitchen sink.
Sort of like a light switch only.
Yes.
Button on it?
Yes, if that gets illuminated, there should be a number to call on that.
Okay.
You call that number, and once again, if it's between 7 and 3 o'clock, we'll be right out. If not, leave a message with your phone number, your address, and we'll come out first thing in the morning. Yes, sir.
If there's a crack in the pipe somewhere, let's say, at what point along the line does it become the responsibility of the homeowner?
If it's a gravity pipe from the house, once it leaves the house to the road is the homeowner's responsibility.
Which includes the grinder?
No, if it's gravity. From the house to the grinder pump is the homeowner's responsibility. Once anything gets into the grinder pump, it becomes the sewer department's responsibility. Does that help? Any more questions? I know it was quick, but
I think there are a couple more slides to go through there. Talk about that anyway.
yeah, so the treatment plant, once again, is a slow rate man treatment facility. Zero discharge. We average about 800,000 gallons a day, 850,000 gallons a day right now with the current population in Fairfield. 4 lagoons, a complete mix, 2 parcels, and a final lagoon. The final storage lagoon is what we pump out of to the spray heads and drip irrigation. We've got 178 acres that we spray and drip irrigate on, and 350 acres inside the fence. So we maintain all of that. We've got some pretty unique tractors. We don't want to compact the soil, especially in the spray fields. We want the soil to be as fresh as possible so that we get the fastest perk that we can. If we compact the soils, we diminish our ability to dispose effluent on it. So we've got all kinds of unique pieces of equipment down there to do that. The drip irrigation was put in about 6 years ago. That's one of the main projects that we did, $1.2 million job, 250,000 gallons a day in drip, completely automated. I've got a desktop PC that I program, goes through a whole bunch of radio-controlled wireless panels and opens valves and closes valves automatically, so I can adjust it right from my office. It's pretty neat. The spray has been in place since 2002. Originally, it was permitted for 687,000 gallons a day, and now it's down to 647. So the soils just could not absorb the water that they originally permitted it for. So.
Hey, Bruce, you might mention the last lagoon, what comes out of there?
Yes, so the last lagoon, we actually propagate fathead minnows. The lakes in Fairfield have very little cover for the fish, and so the Bass Club loves their big bass, and right now what was happening is the bass eat their own, the young. So in order to increase the populations of bass throughout the lakes, we propagate minnows in our storage lagoons down there. The treatment plant staff harvested about 80 to 100 pounds of fathead minnows a day. The Bass Club comes down and puts them in coolers and brings them to the lakes on a scheduled basis. And it's like feeding time at the zoo. It's the same lake, same day, and the bass just line up waiting for these minnows. So, yeah, it's pretty neat. Pretty neat. But it's a renewable source for us. It doesn't affect the operation of the treatment plant, and it gives the Bass Club some minnows, some extra food for the bass so that they don't eat their own. So. They've seen population increases. We've got a lakes scientist who measures the populations or calculates the population of the bass and carp and all that stuff, and he claims that the populations are increasing, so, yeah. They're not, no. No. Yes, sir.
Drain cleaners. Liquid drain cleaners.
Yep. Shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't be a problem at all. There's, the sump in that grinder pump has 35 gallons, and so if you use Drano, for instance, is sodium hydroxide. That sodium hydroxide is going to get quite dilute inside the sump in that grinder pump, and then by the time it hits the main in the road, it'll be it won't affect anything. Yes, sir.
Is there anything that we should run through that pump every once in a while to keep it up?
No. If you're careful not to flush too much oil and grease down, then anything else other than the flushable wipes, the pump should handle with no problem. Yeah, those are our two biggest issues: is the flushable wipes and grease.
I
Yes.
think we shouldn't put down a garbage disposal.
No, a lot of people say that throw some bones in there every once in a while and it sharpens the blades on the garbage disposal. I don't know. Common sense, I guess. Clamshells are just calcium. I don't think it's going to hurt the grinder pump too much. They'll sit on the bottom of the tank, the sump, and dissolve because they're calcium. They're limestone, basically. Stones, gravel, that type of stuff is going to affect the grinder pump if it gets into it. So you just got to, it's a cutter. It's a very fine tolerance cutter that spins very fast, and so everything has to go through a very fine tolerance. And stones, obviously, stones and metal don't mix when there's speed involved, and so that type of stuff. The fibers out of those flushable wipes don't break down, and so they get wound up tight. It's a progressing cavity pump, so it's a stator and rotor. It looks like a worm, and the cavities between the voids is what pulls the material into the pump, and those fibers get stuck in those cavities, and of course the pump stops pumping and we get called out, so.
Okay, I hear a lot about this in big cities, medications.
Yep. I think the local Crossville police has a medication, not buyback, but turn-in. I think even Fairfield police have a medication turn-in.
Sometimes Walgreens and
Kroger's.
Yes.
Yeah. I believe you could bring them down to Fairfield Police. Yes, she's wondering how to dispose of medications properly. And down the toilet or into the sewer system, it's really not, it's insignificant, basically, unless there's 5,000 people dumping meds. Now, we've got Good Samaritan up on the hill, and I'm sure that the wastewater coming from there probably, if tested, probably would have some abnormal meds found in it or whatever, abnormal conditions in it. I don't think one household dumping an expired pill bottle at once a month or once every 2 months is going to affect it too much. But
We'll take back your minutes.
They will.
Yeah, just stop on this department, take back your minutes.
that would be your best bet. Yeah.
Like second feel, I don't know, but I'm a nurse.
Sure.
You know how there's different ways to dispose of things.
Sure.
Not like a chemotherapy drug.
Yeah, that's,
No way, put that in the...
yeah, right.
Hey, Bruce, just to follow up on the garbage disposal question, the best thing you can use to do property in your garbage disposal to help the blade are ice cubes.
Ice cubes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm on septic, so I don't have a garbage disposal, so.
and if you want it fresh, throw in lemon or lemon. Bruce, want to talk about tours?
Yeah, so the John Conrad, if any of you know John Conrad big in the Trails Committee, big in the City of Crossfield Trails Committee. He organizes John Conrad tours. And once a month, well, it was once a month before COVID, now it's about once every other month, he plans tours down to the treatment plant. So he brings about 17 or 18 people down for 2.5 hour tour of the treatment plant. They rent the Fairfield bus and bring them down, and I explain the finances and the staffing and how we handle things down there, how we run the plant, and then we take a trip around the 350 acres and watch the bears and the deer and the turkeys and the spray fields and the drip fields and stuff, and it's pretty interesting. People enjoy it when they come down, and once again, if you don't know John, if you go on to John Conrad Tours, he's got a whole list of tours that you can sign up for. I think it's well worth it. You get to see where the treatment plant is. Most people don't know where the treatment plant is, and we're kind of out of sight, out of mind, stuck back in the woods, but...
It is worth the tour. She said, we fashion call it a food tour. But it is worth the tour down there.
It smells like money down there.
Yes. Other questions?
John, make a
Sure.
Yeah. One of the things Bruce is doing is he's working with an engineering consulting firm on a 10-year plan, because we, as the board, we want to look out ahead to see, we cannot have the sewer system become ineffective or anything. So Bruce has hired a consulting company. They're doing a 10-year study right now. When we get that, we'll review it with the board, and we'll put together a 10-year financial plan for sewer as well. So once we put that together, I'm confident I'll get to present that plan to you all. But it's a very important study right now going on.
There's Bruce's contact information. Also in the backpack here, I'll go over, we got some handout sheets if you'd like to have for others. Any questions, additional questions for Bruce? We'll hang around for minutes. If you've got a real serious question you want to ask him, not in front of the whole group, he'll be here for a bit. Bruce, if you've got a finance question. Just a little housekeeping stuff here to go through here if I can get this work. Next week, we're going to come back for our 5th session. It's going to be on community maintenance and marinas. Is there anything you want to know about our roads, our marinas, our buildings, who takes care of them, maintenance? You will know all of that when you leave here next week. So we'll be back here at 3 o'clock next week, and then we're going to take off a week there for the J2 concert, which Mary Jo said is around 5,000 people here for, right, Mary Jo?
I have no idea. I'm planning for the biggest crowd.
Yeah, we're planning the biggest crowd ever, so we don't need to get around here at 4 o'clock that day. So we're going to take it down there. And then we'll go do the record sports and follow up with some trails and rival stations. So I've got a copy of the agenda back here if you want it. We're also going to post this on the website under the Newcomers tab. So you won't have to have a paper copy of that. Back here also, we need some help. We need some feedback from you. I've got one of my business cards back here. If you would take time to just get a business card and send us back some feedback on these presentations. If you enjoy them, what would you like to see? We had discussed, they helped guide us and Mary Jo as we plan these events. We want to give you what you need, not what we think you need. We want you to tell us. So this is the first time we've ever done a Newcomers 101 here in Fairfield Glade. So we're excited to roll it out, but also we need feedback from you to help us improve this process going forward. Back here also I have some copies of key contact information, where it's the board of directors or the senior manager, which Bruce is part of. It's on the sheet back here. Again, take one of my business cards. Any other questions we may ask today, Bruce, from the finance other than sewer? Do you have any questions about Fairfield Glade? We have a few minutes.
There was, I guess, a proposal to expand the number of slips in marinas. Is that a?
I'd be glad to talk to you about that. I'd be glad to talk to you about that, because I'm going to sign that project by the board, so I can further answer that question. And first, in full closure, I'm stuck on my car. So as of yesterday, we have 69 people waiting on the post of the car. We waited 3 years on the post. We put our name in. They called us one day and said, "You got slip." I said, "Well, I guess I need to go buy a boat." So that's what we did. But we're running 3 years out on the post. We are securing bids now. We don't know when that will cycle financially. It could be 2 years, who knows. We're getting bids now to expand Dartmoor anywhere from now, we received one bid back, and we're doing that, so we get asked that question quite a bit, so I felt pretty answering that
We're one of the
question.
69.
Yeah, you're on the list, what is it, Dartmoor? Okay, yeah. Well, and sometimes they go faster than others, because they go through the list in March, when Marino opens back up, and somebody says, well, I'm not ready, well, that person goes from 2 to 69, and you get one shot to say, I want to slip, your contract goes to the bottom of the list, it's just the way it is, because there's many people waiting.
Bob Sharp has done a great job.
Bob Sharp is first class, absolutely, does a great job. Jerry Sorry also over at the St. George Marine, just a side note on that. All y'all been here now for our holidays, you see all the American flags out here that goes up around the holidays. Well, Tom Sorry, the Marine manager over at St. George, he started that years ago. Somebody's been here longer than me, it was only like 100 flags or so at one time, and now I think it's almost 300 flags. And they've got it down to a science to put that out. If you ever seen them do it down on the road. So, yeah, both of those guys do a great job on the so.
John, she's got-
Question?
What is the source of our water? I know it comes from Crab Orchard, but where, is it a reservoir, is it?
It is, and it's out here on Peavine, where the Shell station is. You turn it, that's Woodland, I believe, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you turn down Woodland and it's back in there.
So it's a reservoir?
Yes.
Fresh spring or?
It's spring in it, and it's from the creek, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Eddie Street,
No,
Otter.
Otter Creek.
Yeah.
Is it treated, is it filtered, is it poured?
It's all of that,
All of
yes.
that.
They have upflow clarifiers, carbon filters. They've got a conventional water treatment plant.
Good question.
That would be nice to have a.
That's the kind of feedback we need.
It's chlorinated, yes, sir. And I believe fluoridated as well.
Fluoridated or fluoride?
They add fluoride to it.
Other questions?
Who's in charge of the weekly canceling of the concerts?
It looks like it's going to be sunny today.
To make those calls early, and if we don't make a call and it rains, we pay for the band. So we have to take care of food vendors and music. And I've made this comment before. I have friends at WATE, the TV station in Knoxville, and oftentimes I'll call them and I'll say, okay guys, the meteorologist, what do you think? And they say it could go either way.
We got a question over here?
Yeah, question about natural gas.
Okay, hang on just a second. Talk into that where everybody can hear you.
Are there any plans to increase that in Fairfield Glade?
Natural gas expansion?
Yeah, we've talked to the gas company, and as you can imagine, around here, running gas lines is about as difficult as Bruce has running sewer lines through rock. So it ends up being demand, and the natural gas company would like to do it, but, when the cost is sky high because of the rock, they're not all that inclined to do it. So where we can, we will. We just built, the developer just built a new subdivision up by Good Sam's. It's called Cedar Ridge. It all has natural gas, so where we can, we do.
I actually called the gas company a while back, and they said we were a couple of years out, but they didn't say never. So
That's good. That's good.
I'd settle for cable. You can have cable.
Oh, boy.
And interesting that you said that. We had a meeting with the Speaker of the House and the senator who's in charge of the Commerce Committee and some folks who run fiber optic cable. And we're talking to them about how can we get more fiber optic cable into Fairfield Glade. We recognize that from surveys that we've taken, especially for people who are new and or looking to move in here, because more and more people out of COVID are working from their home and they want high-speed internet. And so that is a high item on the board's list to take a look at how we increase high-speed internet in Fairfield Glade.
Oh, thank you.
fact, we work a lot with the realtors, as Mary Jo does, and that's one of the first questions they get asked also. What's the high-speed internet here? So,
I was telling the folks in this meeting I was in, I can tell when my neighbors get on the internet because my internet speed just falls like a rock.
any other questions?
I'm just going to say you can get Xfinity. It's up to 1,200 gigabytes or megabytes per second. Megabits.
Yeah, I've got Xfinity, and what I do is I monitor it, and like I said, I can tell when my neighbors get on because the speed's up here, and then as my neighbors get on, the speed just starts falling off.
I've never experienced that.
Yeah.
400 megabits per second.
Okay, other questions? Well, we certainly want to thank Bruce Evans for taking time out. This is a guy you rarely see, but what a great job he does for us. And we hope you never see him, actually. We hope you never see him. But thank you, Bruce, both Bruces. And if you got any questions, let us know. We'll hang around for a few minutes. And if you don't mind getting one of my business cards and just give me some feedback on what you'd like to see with these programs. Thanks.